Okay, now I need to explain something very quickly. Today, page 283, 284, I did tomorrow's video already. Accidentally, I skipped over 283, 284, and so tomorrow I'm saying, I can't believe they don't go over this with you. Well, they do go over it with you. It's just I accidentally skipped it. So, and again, I don't have the right pages here, so I'm going to write somewhere on the board. Next week, I'll have the right pages again. Okay, so page 283, 284, rounding off mixed numbers. Okay, so you probably should know how to do this already because I just explained it in the other video yesterday. Or no, tomorrow's video I explained it again. Okay, all right, so let me go over this again. If we are rounding off mixed numbers, remember a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction, okay? And when we round, our magic number is 5, right? Anything below 5, we round down. Anything 5 and above, we round up, including 5s. 5's right in the middle. Someone had to make a decision at some point. Where's 5 going to go? They decided to go up with it. So 5 and up, we round it up. 4 and down, we round it down. Okay? So when you're dealing with fractions, you want to think of what half is in the denominator that you're in. So if you are in the fourths, what's half with fourths? It would be half of 4 is 2, right? So 2/4 is 1/2, right? Okay, what about eighths? What's half in eighths? 4 is half of 8, right? So 4/8 equals 1/2. Do you see? Then when you get into the odd numbers like sevenths, okay, what would half of 7 be? It's not a whole number, is it? It's 3.5. So this is not a fraction, but this is what you have to think. So a 3/7 is lower than 3.5, so that would be less than half and you would round it down. 4/7 is larger than 3.5, right? So 4/7 is greater than 1/2, and so it would round up. Do you see? And they like to throw the odd numbers at you because that's harder. Okay, so the even numbers are pretty easy. Tenths. That is not a dog, that's my alarm. I'm supposed to do something. Oh, that's when the news comes on. I like to watch it. Okay, at 6 o'clock. All right, so what's half of 10? 5. So 5/10 is half. But then at 11ths, what's half of 11? That looks like pi. What's half of 11? 5.5. So 5.5, or I think tomorrow when I wrote it, I think I wrote 5.5. Either way, 5.5, 5.5 are the same thing. So 5/11 is smaller than 5.5. So 5/11 would round down. 6/11 is bigger than 5.5. So 6/11 would round up. Does that make sense? That's all there is to it. Okay, so let's see what's on our page here. Section 1A says 1/2 and 2/7. They put a little circle there and you're supposed to write greater than or less than. Sometimes they'll say equal to also, but this time they don't. Okay, so in sevenths, what is half? We did this a second ago. Half of 7 is 3.5, right? So is 2 smaller or larger than 3.5? It's smaller, so that means half is bigger. 2/7 is smaller than half. Okay, let's do 1B. 1B says 1/2 with a bubble and 2/3. Okay, so what is half in thirds? Half of thirds is 1.5, right? So what's 2? Is 2 bigger or smaller than 1.5? 2 is bigger. So this time we go that way. Okay, you guys do C and, well, you don't have to do D. Do C on your own so I can see if you're getting it. Okay, section 2 says to round off to the nearest whole number. Okay, so instead of writing greater than or less than, 2A is 3 2/3, and underneath it they have a little blank down here and they want you to write the number, the whole number. So 2/3 is 2, what's half of 3? 1.5. So is 2, pretend that's the denominators, is 2 smaller or larger than 1.5? It's larger. So 2/3 would round up. So 3 becomes 4. Do you see? Okay, let's do 2b. 2b is 6.5. Well, that's easy. We know that's half. So half is like 5 is where it goes up. So 6.5 rounds up to 7. Don't even have to think on that one. Okay, and then C, still in section 2, C is 7 3/5. See, I told you they like to do all the odd numbers on you. They're a little teeny tiny bit harder. Okay, so this is either going to be 7 or 8. 3/5, what's half of 5? Half of 5 is 2.5. So is 3 smaller or larger than 2.5? It's larger, so this gets to bump up to 8. Do you see? Oh, so easy. Okay, and then the next section, section D, or sorry, 3, section 3 is we're going to put this into practice as we divide. So we're going to divide 6 into 13. Okay, 6 goes into 13 2 times. By the way, it says we're going to round to the nearest whole number. So in order to round to the nearest whole number, you have to have either a decimal to know, or we're going to go back actually to according to, yeah, if you look at the top of the page, they go back to fractions, which I told you a couple days ago we weren't going to do fractions anymore. So you can do whichever one you want to do, but I think fractions is easier. So this will be 12. And we're going to have 2 1/6 is our answer. And it says to round it to the nearest whole number. So is 1/6 smaller or larger than 1/2? 3/6 would be half in sixths, right? So 1/6 is smaller than 3/6, right? So that makes this one round down to 2. Do you see? Okay, let's see. Let's do one more. I'm going to do the green one with you. That way you guys have to do 2 of them because I want to see if you can get this. Okay, D. You can watch if you want to, although I'd rather you participated so you know what we're doing. If you're just watching, you may not understand. So let's do the green. It won't kill us, I promise. Shaylee, I promise it won't kill you. And Bronson. Okay, 9 goes into 10. How many times? 1. 1 times 9 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. Compare, it's smaller. Bring down 16. 9 times 2 is 18. It doesn't quite make it. So it's 1 again. And we end up with 7. And we need to round this off to the nearest whole number. So it's 11 7/9. Or you could keep going if you'd rather do a decimal. Either way, whichever way you want to do it. This is already done though, so I'm assuming most of you will choose this way. Whichever way you want to do it, you just have to decide which one does it round up or down. So it's either going to be 11 or 12, depending on this. What's half of 9? Half in ninths would be how many ninths? It's an odd number, so it's going to be 4.5, right? 4.5 is half of 9. Okay, so is 7 more or less than 4.5? It's more, so that makes it round up to 12. So our answer rounded off is 12. See? So easy. The bottom section says to round them also, the fractions, to the nearest whole number. So look at those 3 circles. The blue sections. So we have 2 blue, these 2, they're divided into thirds, right? Thirds. But these 2 are blue, and then that last one is, I should just get the markers. This is blue, this is blue, this is green. So obviously we have 2 whole numbers right there, both 2 completely blue, and then you have this one that has a little bit of green. But if you're going to round this off, does it have more blue or more green? It has more blue. So this would round to, down here is the answer, 3. Okay, you do the same thing with the bars. They look like Kit Kat bars. Obviously there's 3 whole blue Kit Kats, and then there's part blue, part red. But is that one that's part blue and part red, is it more blue or is it more red? It's more red, so red wins. So then the answer is the same for B. B is also 3. It rounds down to 3. because less than half of that one blue and red one, less than half of it is blue, so it has to round down to not blue. Okay, and then, oh goodness, you have a story problem. Benedict Arnold. I don't know if you guys learned about him in history or not. He was remembered as being a traitor. So you're going to answer or read that story problem, some information about him, and then do the story problems, and it has all to do with the numbers up there in the story problem. Okay, the rest of it is review. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.